Thrive Nation, on today's show, we interview the whole life success expert, Rock Thomas. And on today's show, he shares with us about the importance of having an intentional, positive irritator in your life. Somebody to push you to the next level, and somebody who knows the way and goes the way. So I'd ask you today rhetorically, who is that mentor in your life? Who is that coach in your life? Who's that person who has gotten to where you want to go and who can show you specifically what you need to do to go from wanting to be successful to actually becoming successful? And now, our interview with Rock Thomas.
Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colin Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you
Yes, 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 and yes, Thrive Nation, it is a very special occasion because, as you know, we always talk about the importance of having success in all 6 areas of your life. We talk about having success in your faith, your family, your finances, your fitness, your friendship, and your fun. And so on today's show, it is an honor to interview one of the world's top success experts, Rock Thomas. Welcome onto the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
I love the 6 F's. That's beautiful. Yes, yes.
So you are a whole life success expert. What does that mean for people out there that are just now hearing your voice for the first time?
Well, you know, it means don't make the mistakes I made in becoming wealthy and giving up your health and your relationships. And fortunately today I learned from those early mistakes and now have a very beautiful relationship and incredible health, and I'm financially free. So you learn from your mistakes, and now I help people do the same thing.
What was your first business where you really hit it big?
You know, I tried so many things. I had a retirement home. I had a restaurant. I did a lot of things badly, but the first major success was when I met a mentor in my late 20s that took me from farm boy, from construction worker into the real estate business, and really helped me define my communication skills. And I went from 1 sale the first year to 32, 45, 65, onto 100. Then he sold me the company, and I took it from $300 million to $1 billion in sales and sold it 10 years later for $4 million. So real estate was my lane.
Who was your mentor?
He was a broker owner. He was a CPA. He was a happily married family man with 2 kids. They were all in the business, and I just admired and respected him. And I think that's what people should look for in a mentor. Coaches are great. They can hold you accountable. Mentors are somebody you admire and respect.
So with the mentorship, how did this mentorship come about? I mean, did you have to seek it out, or did he approach you?
You know, I think it was a little bit of scouting. In the real estate business, you're always looking for great salespeople, and he was observing me from a distance. He saw my work ethic. He saw how tenacious I was. But I was running east looking for a sunset. I was a fool without good work ethic, and he brought me in and he said, with your work ethic and my faith in you, my belief in you, I'd never had that growing up. My father always told me, you're not doing it right. You're not good enough. You could do it better. And it was really foreign for me to really have somebody that took me under their arm and looked me in the eye and said, you can do it. So I did exactly what he said. And that was the secret formula. I think that anybody that could be mentored by somebody for, say, 6 months to a year, where you virtually have access to the mentor every day so you can course correct rapidly, the pains of failure are not too intense, that you keep on going, you hit momentum, and that's exactly what he did for me.
So what was your life like growing up on that small Canadian farm near Montreal?
Well, you know, for a while it was fun, and then it was lonely, and I was the youngest of 7 kids, and they called me Pizza Face and Bone Dog, and
oh, wow,
gave me a lot of labels that disempowered me and made me feel, in fact, quite lonely. But adversity makes you stronger if you're given the context to grow through it. So I became pretty resilient. But I carried those wounds with me into my adulthood, and I did a lot of personal development, a lot of therapy, and You know, if your childhood, you don't heal your childhood, you carry it into your adulthood. So I was a warrior as a child, and I'm a warrior as an adult, and I learned how to become a little bit more empathetic and compassionate now that I run my several businesses. So, you know, it did serve me.
What kind of businesses are you involved in now?
So I own a bunch of real estate companies up in Canada where we sell residential real estate. I have multiple mastermind groups where we help people with common values march toward their goals by putting them in an ecosystem that's online and doing events. And we mostly help them get out of the rat race. The thing that bugs me is people that are doing a job that they hate. And if you're not loving your job, you're wasting half of your life. So we show them alternative ways to think, to experience life, new perspectives, introduce them to my mentors that help me write a book or have an online product or sell product online or promote other people's products so you can get residual or affiliate fees where you can eventually not have to work every day and you can go golfing on a beautiful sunny day when you feel like it.
So I want to get into the specifics for a second. Let's say there's somebody out there listening right now, and they have done well financially. Their business has done well financially. They've made money. They've made it past that break-even point, but they're working all the time. Walk us through what a day in the life of Rock Thomas looks like. I mean, what time do you wake up, and how do you organize those first 4 hours of every day? What time do you wake up, and how do you organize the first 4 hours of every day?
So I'm a yoga guy. I wasn't always. So I used to get up and go to the gym and work out. Now I get up and I go to yoga at 5:30 in the morning. So I'm typically up around 4:30, take the dog for a quick walk. I'm directing the inner narrative of my body. Most important thing you can do. Not look at your phone, but look inside yourself. Then I go to yoga, get centered, get balanced, align my body with my mind. And then I lie there at the end of the class for about 5 minutes and I do creative visualizations on the things I want to attract into my life, the people I want to experience, how I want to respond to things, how I want to show up. Then I come back and I usually have a healthy breakfast with my lady and discuss a couple of things with her, play with the dog a bit. And then I come into the office and I usually get on some calls for 3 to 4 hours. And this world of coronavirus is not that different for me because I do a lot on Zoom already, interact, coach, lead groups, get into meetings for my various companies around the world. And then by the time it gets to noon, I usually head off to the pool or the golf course and relax for the rest of the day.
Now, my understanding is that you studied alongside of some of the world's top motivational or inspirational or thought leaders, including Tony Robbins, T. Harv Eker, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Stephen Covey. What mentor has made the biggest impact on your career from that list?
Beyond a doubt, Tony Robbins. I'm a trainer for him now. I've done 74 events, followed him for 20 years. And his level of energy is intoxicating. His commitment to excellence is rivaled by nobody I've ever met. And so I chose to make him the core foundational parts of the way I see the world. But I'll tell you that, you know, you can have a main course meal. It's always great to have a side dish of a T. Harv Eker that helps you master your money blueprint, or a Wayne Dyer that helps you be a little bit more grounded or centered. So 50% Tony and then a smattering of some of the others.
If I'm going to fire a shot across the bow, and I'm going to ask a question that the listener, I know there's some listener out there that wants to ask this, but they're not going to. So I'm going to ask you the question, and then you can just hit it out of the park. So many people say, what's the point of motivation? What's the point of inspiration? Because once you get motivated and you get inspired, then it wears off, and then you. So tell the listeners out there the importance of motivation or inspiration for somebody out there who's a little bit cynical about the idea of seeking extra training on the art of sustained motivation or inspiration.
Clay, it's a really great question. I'm glad you asked it because I don't believe in motivation. I believe in more of an irritational speaker. What we're trying to do is give people strategies that work. And motivation is lifting people up for a moment. It's like a warm bath. It's like saying, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. But my mentor, he gave me belief in myself. And I think a great coach or a trainer sees in you the part that you know is there that you haven't given a voice to, and reminds you, and they feed that part. They're like, you know what? You got a book in you. I see a book in you. You've got a great story. When are you going to write that book? And then they come at you and they give you resources and they affirm that. And then you start to change your identity. You start to have awareness. I got a guy I worked with who was 65 years old. He wanted to spend time skating with his son. He had an identity of overweight and dieting his entire life. 65 years old, 265 pounds. I shifted his identity to athlete, asked him questions on what an athlete would do, how they would behave, how they would consume food. And in 9 months, he got down to 199 pounds. And instead of skating around the rink for 2 minutes with his son, his grandson, he skates now for an hour and a half. We shifted his identity and we didn't motivate him. His motivation and leverage came from his grandson who said, you can't last more than 2 minutes. But the strategy and the identity came from us.
So you're telling me that it's important to have an intentional irritator in your life?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Now, Andrew, you just so you know, Rock, Andrew, who you spoke with earlier, he was born, I believe, Andrew, were you born yesterday?
Last week, actually.
Oh, nice, okay. And how old are you, sir?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm 21.
21, okay.
Yep.
So you work with adults. You know, a lot of times people come to our conference, and that you see some clients that really implement everything they learn.
True. Yep.
And some people, given the same information, implement nothing they learn.
Right.
In one case, Rock, I'm a great teacher. I'm an awesome teacher. In the other case, I'm a bad teacher. I'm a horrible teacher. Andrew, you as an implementer work with clients to help them implement things. What questions would you have for Rock about maybe being that intentional irritator, or about being that? I want you to be able to ask Rock any questions you have, because you work with people all the time trying to help them make those shifts. What questions would you have for Rock?
Yeah. So for some people maybe who don't have that inspiration, maybe their reason what they're trying to go towards, you said for this guy you worked with, his grandson was his inspiration. How do you help people find their inspiration or realize what it is?
Well, anytime I want to work with somebody, I want to ask them questions to elicit what's important to them and to find out what their points of leverage are, like I did with him. And when you have a series of questions that I've been trained through NLP and through life's experience and through watching Tony Robbins for years, you can help motivate people or inspire people or change people's focus by asking great questions and then bringing the future to the present. You see, a mentor is comfortable with your future and your friends are comfortable with your present. So your friends are like, hey, man, we went for beers last Friday. Let's go for beers again. Your mentor is going to say to you, where's your life going to be in 5 years? What does that look like? How will it feel? What won't happen in your life if you go out for 3 beers tonight? And they start to direct your focus to a more inspirational, epic life. And I just think I've become very good at that. And if people are open and they're willing to do the work and they're coachable, I believe I can inspire them. I can put spirit in them. I can encourage them. I can put courage in them to take action that they weren't taking before. I can explain to them that there's no winning and losing, there's winning and learning. And if you want to take action and you win, great. You take action and you learn, great. So you stay in action mode. And when you start to sell people on that belief system, people start to take action. They feel better. They feel better. They start to take more action, and then you can't hold them back.
Anthony, I want to get your take on this. You are a business owner. Rock, just to give you an intro, Anthony Bockham is a business owner. And Anthony, how old are you right now? Oh, did I mute you? I'm a passive aggressive. I'm a passive aggressive host. How old are you, sir?
I am 28.
28. Okay, you've got the man, the myth, the legend. You've got the Rock. Literally, you've got the Rock. Rock Thomas here. What questions do you have for Rock?
Hey, Rock. So my name's Anthony, and I'm known as the persistent idiot. So I spent 5 years in industry, which is the car industry, and I really didn't make any money until the 4th or 5th year when I started to kind of figure things out. So my question: you work with a lot of business owners. How long do you typically think that someone needs to stick to their industry to learn the intricacies, get to a point to where their experience is actually like an advantage? Because, a lot of people give up too soon after 1 year, 2 year, and they think it's just not going to work, but they just don't know the industry or the things that might give them an advantage going forward.
Yeah, it really depends on what your identity is around a student. I have an identity of I am an excellent student. I pay attention. I capture the essence and apply it at a level of mastery even more right now. If we go play volleyball down at the beach and I've never played before, I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to get the best player. I'm going to ask him what I need to do. I'm going to seek out the nuances and the distinctions, and I'm going to learn rapidly. So somebody that has that mindset might be able to learn an industry in a year and a half versus the typical 3 years. So it really depends. Are you being mentored? Are you seeking course correction on a rapid basis, or are you just going through the motions? I say to people, tell me what you do before 8 o'clock in the morning and after 8 o'clock at night, and I can predict your financial future for the rest of your life, because the margins inside the 9 to 5 are easy for everybody to fake. But you write your book in the morning, you study a new skill that makes you better with handling an objection in work in the morning or in the evening when you do your daily audit. So you need to be strategic, and then you can compress time, and you can do what some people does in 3 years, you could probably do in 3 months if you had that kind of a mindset.
Rock, is there a certain message that you want to get out to the listeners today? Is there a certain website or a certain program that you're offering for the listeners? 'Cause I want to make sure we have an opportunity for you to offer some valuable tools for the listeners.
I would say, you got to find your vibe that is in a tribe. And I have a tribe of people that seek to live epic lives, that constantly want to learn and contribute to other people, and support, encourage, and challenge people to be their best. There's no complaining and blaming and criticizing of each other. There's no comparison for the sake of feeling better or worse. There's comparison for inspiration and modeling. So if you are somebody that wants more, you're hungry, you're a little dissatisfied where you are, you want to find a group of people that are going to support, encourage, and challenge you, you got to check out GOM1.com, GOM1.com, and check out that tribe and see if it is your vibe.
Rock, is there a book that you'd recommend for the listeners, or maybe a few books that you'd recommend that had the biggest impact on you in your life?
There are many, but let's go with The Untethered Soul by Michael J. Singer. It's about letting go. It's about not trying to control things on the outside, but more focusing on the inside and really listening to that inner narrative. I think it's a great book, and he's got another one called The Surrender Experiment. If you like that one, get those two.
Now, you've got the mic. You have listeners all over the world, and you can say anything you want to say to them at all. Be nice. I know you're a nice guy, but you can say whatever you want to say. Maybe you've had maybe you had a rough morning and you just want to get it off your chest. As a general rule, you only say positive things. But what is maybe a message you want to communicate out to the Thrive Nation?
Most of the people I work with that struggle and never get ahead are so caught in the how. They need to know how to open a business. They need to know how to work out. They need to know what's going to happen. They're trying to control everything. What I say to people that has been one of the greatest activators is say yes to what you want to create and figure out the details later. Say yes to things that are bigger than you and grow into it by figuring it out when you're in the arena. Don't analyze everything from the stage or the stand and be a spectator. Get dirty, get in there. The learning will happen when you're in the experience, and you will figure it out when your ass is on the line. So say yes and figure it out later.
Do you like Adam Sandler movies?
Some of them I do. Some of them he's a little bit too dumb, but some of them, yeah, he's got some good 50 First Dates. Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Tommy Boy? Has that movie Tommy Boy changed your life? Have you seen the movie Tommy Boy with Chris Farley?
Oh, gosh. I don't think I've seen that one. Sorry.
Okay.
It's not a good example.
I'm going to cue up this audio here. And if you don't like it, just kind of suffer through it. But I'm trying to tee up an idea. In the Bible, it talks about he who walks with the wise shall become wise. He who is a companion of fools shall suffer harm. Jim Rohn says, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Everybody has that. It's a universal principle.
Yeah.
And there's somebody out there listening right now who is surrounded by jackasses on all sides. To your left, to your right, there are just jackasses everywhere. And so this audio clip here is meant to enter into the world of jackassery. So that way the listeners can go, that's me. Because if we are motivated and we are hanging around jackasses, I want to get your tips on how to escape that, okay? So I'm going to play up the audio. This is what it feels like, folks, to hang out with jackasses. This is a clip here from Billy Madison, an incredible movie. Here we go. Let me cue it up here.
Get on the bus here. Move it. Get up there. Kyle, 1, 2, 5, 7. Move it or lose it. Get on the bus.
Hi, Miss Vaughn. Nice to see you.
That Veronica Vaughn is one piece of ace. I know from experience, dude. You know what I mean?
No, you don't.
Well, not me personally, but a guy I know. Him and her got it on. Woo-wee!
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. But you can imagine what it'd be like if they did, right? Huh? Huh? Everybody on? Good. Great. Grand. Wonderful. No yellow in the butt.
You know, it's I think we all have somebody in our life, Rock, who is dumb, aggressive, distracting. How do you escape the force field of jackassery if you find yourself surrounded by idiots?
You join my tribe. That's step number one. But they're everywhere. There's a cesspool of mediocrity out there. So you got to level up on a regular basis. But probably the biggest thing you have to do is accept the fact that you're going to leave people behind. It's just a fact of life if you're going to be great. Every time somebody like Michael Jordan, worked through teammates, he didn't, cry about somebody that couldn't step up and stay with him or got traded. He just took the next person. When Scottie Pippen went down, he went to Rodman and he built him up. And that's what leaders do, is they take the people around them and they build them up and they give them a vision, a compelling vision, and they empower them. And they move away from the people, with intention and find other people that will share a common vision. So you just got to be willing to leave some people behind. And we all want to belong and connect and matter. And sadly, people give up their dreams so they can belong to, a small little group of people that hang out at the local bar or wherever their local hangout is.
Anthony, we have time for one more question for The Rock, so I'll let you have the final question here. And again, if you paint The Rock into a corner and you ask him the kind of question that's not a good question, as deemed by me, I'm going to hit the boo button. I'm going to hit this button, and you don't want me to hit this button. So feel free to ask whatever you want, but you do risk the ability to be publicly booed by the boo button. So go for it, sir.
Awesome. Well, this question actually relates to a personal experience. So for years, I really had a hard time waking up early, doing that kind of thing, keeping the sustained motivation, as some people will call it. What do you find are the top 3 most powerful motivators for people to kickstart themselves into the consistent action? Like for me, it was a sense of time urgency and just like a sense of I'm not going to get this back, and that's really frustrating. So a sense of urgency and value for me really kicked me into where, I wake up at 4 every day, work 12 hours a day, that kind of thing, and taking things more seriously. But what do you see as the top 3 in people that you work with?
Yeah, I think motivation is an interesting word. I don't think when you have a compelling future, things that excite you, you're going to play golf tomorrow morning at 5:30, or you're going to go to Hawaii for a trip. You don't need to motivate yourself because it excites you. It's what you love. The problem is most people are doing jobs they don't love. They're working out because they don't eat properly and they're trying to get rid of the 7 beers they had the night before. When you create a compelling vision for what you want, when you have reasons to make a difference, when you have people that depend on you, like the children in your family or a charity you're going to give to, you will do anything. I recently got a new puppy and I'm up every 2 hours every night. But this cute little adorable thing, I can't let it suffer. So I'm compelled. I get up with energy and enthusiasm. So the answer to the question for me is fill your calendar. When you look at your next week, your next month, your next quarter, if there's not stuff in there that makes you feel so excited, so alive that you're salivating to get to it, then you're going to spend time motivating yourself, and eventually you're going to run out of self-discipline. So fill your calendar with things that excite you, and if you can't afford them or you don't have the time, then it will force you to say yes and figure it out later.
Rock, you are a phenomenal guest. I appreciate you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. And everybody out there, I encourage you to do a quick Google search for Rock Thomas, and learn more about the man, the myth, the legend, The Rock. Rock, again, thank you for being on today's show.
Hey, your energy is infectious. I feel I'm fired up now. I'm ready to climb a mountain. Thank you, Clay.
Hey, take care. And now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!
Boom. Boom.